Hello and welcome back to the TheDropOutDragon. Today we're going to be looking at the Murakumo. I'm going to be showing that in just a second. Here's the stats screen real quick. And here is the actual weapon itself. Now this is one of the curved greatswords. I think that some of the other curved swords, including the Exile, is a little bit better than the Murakumo, but I figure if you can use this, you can use the others. This one also weighs a hell of a lot less than some of the other ones do, so that's nice. There's also the Karthus curved greatsword, and I do prefer that one over maybe this one. It has a cooler sword art, and honestly, it's just neater looking, and I think it weighs less than the Murakumo, but it also has bleed attached to it, but this one does not. So I figure if we can use this, you can use all the other ones that have a little bit of a special effect to them. But this is the base. This is the standard for curved greatswords. So let's go ahead and look over its moveset. Here are the R1s. Here are the R2s. This is the one-handed. And here is the two-handed once I get my stamina back. It does have a serious stamina drain for some of its attacks. Those are the R1s. And here are the R2s. Okay, and here is going to be the bread and butter of what you're doing, the running attack. There you go, running attack. Running attack for this is very good, and it looks a hell of a lot less silly than Dark Souls 2. So I'm kind of happy about that. It's a weapon that I take a little bit more seriously instead of something that just starts spinning around. A lot of people like to go unlocked with it and you know, do the running attack in Dark Souls 2. This one, I wouldn't recommend that kind of behavior. It's much more of a punish in, get your quick damage, and kind of get out because of the running attack being so fast. The running attack does have some hyper armor as well. This is considered a great weapon, so it does have, you know, hyper armor to it. I do like it. I do like the great curved swords. They are fun. I find they have a little bit, I would say, too quick of hyper armor. Now, I'm not sure whether or not I like that. I think in my head, if it's a curved greatsword, it shouldn't have the same frames as maybe, you know, some of the other greatswords, because it's supposed to be like a Dexy kind of thing, and it's going to be a little bit faster and better in regards to quick attacks or quick frames or anything like that. So yeah, it makes sense that it does, but it always seems like all I have to do is press R1 in a trade with somebody, and I'm going to get my hyper armor, regardless of what they're doing. Come on, give me a sign. Don't do this to me right at the beginning of my video. Just let me pick people up. This has been happening a lot lately, so it happens. But you just pick people up. Gives me time to talk about the weapon at least. So this thing, I don't mind them. I don't think that they're OP. I don't really mind the combo that you can do. Yes, there is a combo if you don't already know or haven't already been hit by it. The R1 two-handed into the sword art, which I will be showing in a fight. It's a 3-spinny kind of thing. I can actually just go ahead and do it right now that I think about it. There's the sword art right there, and you can follow that up after an R1 if you do it quickly enough, and it will stun lock them after the first R1. So let's see what we got here. This weapon seems to fall a little bit short when it comes to fighting weapons with hyper armor, such as the one that our good purple here has. I wouldn't have summoned a purple if I could help it, but I was just snagging signs. This weapon, it doesn't do the crazy damage that some of the others do, so you have to be a little bit cautious. So if they hyper armor through it, but see right there, I do that running attack right into him, and I go, yeah, let me punish all the times you tried to get your hyper and do crazy damage. Let me punish that. See, got my hyper armor there on my running attack, still hit him. And I have the actual health to trade, so remember that. Now he's looking at me. I don't want to do normal R1s because he will outspace them and hit me. His weapon is longer and it does more damage, so you have to be a little bit more cautious. Thought I'd go for a second R1 there, but we can get in and out, which is something a lot of the other great weapons, in quotations, don't have. They don't have the ability to pressure like a curved greatsword does, because the running attacks are so good. So why not? I would say they could be on par with some of the katanas. But see, let me get my hyper armor there. But see, I fucked that up and got hit. But I'll go ahead and get the backstab for 4 damage. Woo! Yeah. Great axes are pretty easy to roll BS, so I just went ahead and went for it. And even with a slow backstab weapon like this one, I was able to get that. Remember that your backstabs are a little slower than what you would do with a straight sword or halberd or something like that. Remember that. Very important. I do find if you had to ask me if I was gonna, if I had to win, and you said, ultra great or curved greatsword, I would go for the curved greatsword. I feel like it has enough pressure. Instead of just baiting for attacks, you can actually throw out some of your own and keep the pace and keep the fight going with something like that. But you have to be conscientious of the fact that people are going to trade with you a little bit better, and they're going to have a lot more hyper armor than you. But yours is at least going to come out quicker, I think, from what I've seen at least. So let's go ahead and take on this mage here. So this guy, he's got some ranged options, and if I was using another ultra great, I would think, oh crap, because I wouldn't have the ability to pressure him all that well. But because I'm using a curved greatsword, I feel like I can. Yes, the emotes here. Very expressive. Very expressive person. And I just got nailed by that. But that's okay, because I'm just going to do one attack and do the same amount of damage. Which is a little sad, but, it's the way this game is. He's going to throw out a big old thing. He's going to cast Pursuers, which is fine. Pursuers in this, they're not very good. See if he just walks into this. And there we go. Caught him a little bit. We got lucky there. Caught him a little with the sword art. Go ahead and sidestep magic because we can, which is sad but doable. So catching people in rolls is pretty easy after a running attack, just like that. So I was able to get into his face with a running R1 and then able to just catch him as he's rolling away, which is something that some of the other weapons have trouble doing. This one does, because it has kind of a delayed swing. The swings are very slow, so you're just able to go, oh hey, let me do a really big arcing swing and catch you. Good stuff. I like it. I like these weapons. Come on, give me some signs. Why do they even pop up if I can't summon them? That's the problem when doing it live, but a lot of people like it when I do it live, so we're doing it live. That's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. But yeah, this is the kind of weapon I would feel more comfortable with because of the ability to, get in there with the running attacks, keep them on their toes with your running attacks. In this game, running attacks are very spammable, and when you have a weapon that does, running attacks like this one does, you can apply a lot of pressure and, kind of spam it up, maybe get in, get out, kind of hit and run kind of thing, and due to the damage that you put out, the enemy will respect your distance. They will respect you. So remember that. Remember that. Very, very easy to space somebody out, wait for them to, attack or play it passive and, go in for that running attack and then maybe catch them on the roll on the way out. Maybe they'll try to do a rolling R1 and you just R1 and, hyper through it, which might be the case here as we're going up against Gothards. So, Gothards a very strong weapon. Not something we want to trade with because of its rolling L1, just like that, but it's so predictable. Fighting these things are so predictable. Now, I'm using the two-handed for a reason. See, just like that. Right there, I was able to go, nope, I don't care about your damage. I'm going to hyper through it anyway. I didn't get to do it that time, but we did it that first time. Let's get his little sword art out. He didn't want to go for it that time because he knew I'd just hyper through it. Now, the reason I'm using this two-handed is because I feel like the two-handed moveset is almost identical to the one-hand and more effective. It's going to do more damage. So unless you really need to hide behind your shield or anything, like using the one hand I think two-handing is preferable. See, we're just kind of getting in there. I know he's going to do the rolling L1, so I'm just going to keep on him. Could pull my shield out and maybe attempt to parry, but there's no point in it with the amount of health that I have, since I will trade with anything that he has. So there's really no point. I don't have to not be hit. I just have to trade with him since I have the health, and I'm just waiting on it. There he goes again. He's just really counting on his thrust damage. And then boom. And fight is over. So just like that, that's how you deal with Gothards. I mean, a Gothard's stupid user will do that. somebody who knows what they're doing with Gothards will probably, pick and choose their rolling L1s a little bit better. But seeing as how he wasn't mixing up his timing, he wasn't mixing up his attacks, really if I pulled my shield out, I probably could have just parried him and been like, all right, thanks for playing. But when it comes to, the normal player, they're going to do the same exact stuff with katanas and Gothards and all the top tier things. So you can take advantage of those similar mentalities that people have, and you can really get in there and take advantage of your hyper frames, like what I did in the beginning of the fight, which allowed me to continue hitting him and hitting him hard. So that's good. Dark Lord Quinn, let's get him in here and see what we can do. So, that's the way this weapon, you put some pressure on people and you're able to, hyper through some attacks. You're not doing as much damage as you would with a big giant, anime sword, but you are doing more damage than a straight sword or even a katana at some points if they weren't using the Leo ring. So that's nice. And this guy's going to do the Farron, which if I space correctly, I should be able just to R1 into him. There we go. Hit him on the second one. Surprised the first one didn't hit him, but oh well. I'll go ahead and try for a pivot right there. Did not connect. Just throw out a running attack. He doesn't seem to have an answer for what I'm doing. He doesn't seem to have an answer. If I was him, I'd be pulling out a little bit more, but he's just playing it real safe, and unfortunately because of that, he's going to get hit in his rolls. I think he was going for rolling R1s to try to catch me. I'm not sure exactly what his plan was, but it did not work out. Farron sword getting taken down by the spacing. So that happens. That happens. This weapon is just as complex as you want it to be. It can be very simple. It can be very complex. You just kind of have to get in there and apply your pressure and then keep applying that pressure and making them afraid of your damage. You want them to respect your distance. You want them to respect your damage. You want them to not just walk up and spam on you, because if they do that, you might not win the trade. If they're using like a buffed, fast weapon, you might not win that trade because the weapons in this game that are like the ultras, if they come up against something that is sorry, I'm being messaged like a lot on Discord. You have to remember that weapons that are buffed or whatever can still trade with ultras, and this one doesn't do as much damage as ultras unless you're going for a combo. So unless you're taking advantage of your hyper armor, you're gonna lose some of those trades and wish you had not done them. So remember that. All right, so we have a washing pole with a shield. This is gonna be a tough fight, I think, unless this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Because I really don't want to trade with his running attacks, because he could be using the Leo ring, which would hurt a whole lot. I'm really surprised by that action. That is interesting. Wouldn't have gone with that surprise technique. I don't think that Yorms is a better running attack than a washing pole, but he's got a plan. Obviously, he's got a plan. He's got his shield up and everything, so he's ready. I'll go ahead and hit him right there. He's not paying attention. I'm just going to kick him. Say back off just a bit. Could have maybe kept R1ing. Okay, he's not using Leo ring. Let's go ahead and get the guard break real quick on the kick and follow it up. Bam. GG, good fight, my friend. I thought that was going to be a little bit harder than what it was. He had a pretty good setup. I don't know about that Yorm sword. I don't know about that, but he seemed pretty confident that was going to work for him, so let him have it. Let him have it. But that's it. I think that's all we have to really say about this weapon. Keep your pressure up. Take advantage of your hyper frames. Get in there. The moveset is good, two-handed. The R2s, I'm not a big fan of them. I'm not a big fan of the R2s. I think everything relies on its R1s and its sword art, which I haven't been able to get a good combo off. I don't think it's entirely that rude. I think the halberds have a ruder combo than this one. I mean, I wouldn't rely on it in a duel to be your, end-all, be-all thing. Some people say it's really OP. Some people say it's totally fine. I'm not. I'm kind of on the edge where I think with these combos that you can do with some of the halberds and this weapon and the other great curved swords, I think if you rely too heavily on that, it'll kind of make you look stupid, because you're going to be only forcing trades for that attack, and people will see it coming. I run into people trying to do it all the time, and they are just god-awful. And I think it's just because they have spent so much time trying to do one thing instead of mixing up their attacks, and now, you know, they've just become baitable. They can become very baitable. So this guy's got claw in the offhand so he can parry, but parrying of this is not easy. Not easy at all. We'll catch him there as he's trying to do a trade. I'll catch him right there again. Have to watch out there because he's got a straight sword, and it does hurt. Does hurt. Okay, we'll look at him a little bit. Say, no, I don't care. He's saying, man, you do a lot of damage on those running attacks. I said, yes, I do. So now I'm just going to keep the pressure on. Maybe try to get him to parry, and I'm going to see if we can get him to walk into that. He did not walk into that, which I thought he would. That was not me trying to pull off combo. I could have done it a little sooner and got the combo, but I decided not to. I wanted to see if I could catch him, but he is starting to space us out, which is good on his part. That's exactly what he needs to be doing. Oh, didn't get my hyper armor there. Let's see if he can make a comeback. Let me throw out a firebomb so he can remember that I've got that, so he'll have to get close. Throw a knife. Let's see what we got. And right there, just caught him right in the roll and said, nah, I got hyper armor. And that's one of the big benefits to this weapon. And that's it. Just like that, you can turn this weapon into something that can compete with, you know, normal players, compete with people on pointif, and do actual damage. So there you go. That's the way you do it. Rely on your hyper armor. I was about to say harper. Rely on your hyper armor. Get in there with those running attacks. You can really pressure somebody. Not many of the ultras can do that. Take advantage of that. You'll probably trade better with most running attacks unless they're using the Lero ring and they've got like a katana or something. So just remember that and have a good time with it. If you can use a Murakumo, you can use the other ones. That's as simple as that. This is the base Great Curve sword. It's the way it is. So if you can do well with this, you can do well with all the other ones, especially the Exiles, as the moveset is either exactly the same or super similar. I don't know if the sword art is exactly the same. I think it is. Pretty sure. But if you can do well with this, you can do with that. So thanks for watching. The Dropout Dragon is dropping out.